What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday. Chuck Silver and DFS Jayhawk here with Occupy Fantasy. We're going to talk about this cool little slate we have going on today. I think DraftKings cut off that late game. FanDuel has it though, so we will get into it. Good to see you guys in the chat. Ben, HB Cards, Matt, Heath, Greg, Luke finished 42nd out of 71,000 in the 5 cent. Good stuff, man. When I first started playing DFS like seriously, I grinded that contest and the 25 cent for like a straight year before I kind of moved up. So I think it's really good to practice some stuff, learn some stuff. I still enter it every day. I see no reason not to if you're allowed to, right? How you doing, Jayhawk?
Doing good, yeah. Great contest there. I also started doing that a long time ago. Love that contest. So great job, man. And fun slate tonight, Chuck. I'm excited to break this one down.
5 minutes late and Chuck hosting might be here till lock. Well, we won't be here till lock because I'm leading the Discord, but I will be in there probably 5 minutes late. We'll get through it. It's a cool little. It's not like a tough slate or anything. These slates have been a little bit weird recently, but let's just go ahead and dive into it. We got Trailblazers and Wizards as the first game. We'll start with Portland. I just wanted to point out that the model's not really recognizing anyone. No one's pulling more than 10% ownership. With that said, Jayhawk, is there anybody that you were taking a closer look at here?
Yeah, so Denny confirmed in here, I think, for the most part. So, yeah, I think my favorite target here is the big Donovan Clingan, 7K flat. Alexander Sarr on the opposite side of the ball is super chalky. I do like Clingan as a pivot. So it's mainly Donovan here. What are your overall thoughts here with Portland?
Yeah, Donovan Clingan is my top target too. I don't have exposure to anyone else. I have 2% of Denny and I have like 6% of Clingan in my current FanDuel run. But other than that, it's pretty tough. I mean, Sharp could be a GPP play. Tumani Kamara, I feel like this guy's just overprojected by the industry every day. That 6,700 on DraftKings is tough, but the 5,900 on FanDuel, I wouldn't mind if he showed up in a couple of lineups, and then these other guys down here are all just tough. I will mention like Caleb Love was standing out to me a little bit earlier, but his price is so tough to get to now.
Yeah, I agree. And then Drew Holiday, I'm not getting to either. So pretty much with you on Clingan.
I love this note. It's Denny Revenge Night. Come on. It's well, he did sit out the first end of the back to back so that he could play tonight, right? We haven't projected for 32 minutes. You think that's fair?
Yeah, I think that's perfectly fair. Should be a little bit excited excited to go for this game. So I like it.
Yeah, he's been playing. He only played 18 minutes in that last game. Is that he left like halfway through, right?
Yeah,
So I don't know. They sat him out last night on the back to back. It sounds like he's not super hurt. I don't know that we can expect these 40, 42, 39 minutes, but I guess this 32 we haven't projected for is probably okay.
yeah, I
If
think
we
so too.
if we project him for less, we're probably not going to get any, and I think it's okay to get a couple percent of him. What's up, Torian? We'll go to the other side of this game. Washington, a little bit more interesting. These guys are pulling a lot of ownership. You mentioned you like Sar on the other side.
Yeah, I think Alexander Sarr looks great here. Both sides sub 30%. One of the best center plays on the slate. Kaishan George and Trey Johnson both pulling a lot of ownership here. Did you have a stand or lean with these guys?
I have a lot of Kaishan and a lot of Sar in my exposures right now, but the model is giving us Trey Johnson and Chris Middleton as the best values here. So Kaishan and Alexander Sar look pretty good to me for kind of like I guess mid range pay up value. And then Trey Johnson, Chris Middleton, more traditional value. I think those guys are both okay. Chris Middleton, I don't think this is a guy we want to gem in though. He's projected for 11%. I think we could probably play a little bit more than that if we wanted to, but I wouldn't go crazy with it.
Yep, I'm with you. I think he's fine just where he's priced out his ownership. So I'm with you. Top three plays up here, I think, are the best plays.
And Trey Johnson on DK, this 4,900 price, it's a little bit too cheap for him. The FanDuel price is better. It's more reasonable anyway, but he's been pretty good. The minutes have been there. He's played over 30 minutes in a bunch of games straight, so we'll hope for that to continue tonight. I think he's a pretty good building block.
Yeah, I agree. I love Trey Johnson. One of the best plays.
I think I'm just going to put a global max 3 players per team on my exposures today. I don't really want 4 of these guys, and I don't think there's 4 players from any other team that I would want, but I could see a few lineups having like Sar, George, and Trey Johnson in them. That seems okay. A little awkward locking up those roster spots in the first game, but it's probably not going to come up that much, so I'm okay with getting a few combos of it.
Yeah, I did want to ask you one more player, Bob Carrington, 3% owned. Did you see him as a possible pivot to Trey Johnson at all here?
I have 0.1% in my exposures. I thought about it, but the 5,700 price on him on FanDuel makes it really tough. The 5,600 on DraftKings isn't much better. Now I think his minutes have been pretty good too, right?
Yeah.
32. Yeah, his minutes have been huge. We have him projected for 29.8. Someone came back today. Was Bilal out the last couple games or something?
Yes, he's been out, I think, a couple of games.
Okay, I don't think it's going to cut into Carrington's minutes that much. So I like to say Carrington is a bit stronger play than the model is giving us. But even if we gave him 5 extra minutes, none of these are going to change meaningfully enough for him to look good. So I don't know. The 3 and 1%, if he shows up in, I mean, he's probably not going to show up in my lineups, but if he does in a couple, I'm probably cool with it. And I'll mention Bilal. He's kind of always just there as a GPP guy, always has a ceiling to put up 5 stocks. So I like him better on FanDuel than I do on DraftKings if you were going to take a shot on him.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's definitely better over on FanDuel.
I'll mention Champagne real quick too. This guy screws us a lot, but he's 2% owned. He's only 5K on DraftKings at the 9% ownership. And he's a player that's capable of getting hot, not a guy that we really want to like jam in or anything, though, just someone to mix in a little bit, I think.
Yeah, if he starts, I think I'd like him a little bit more than what I do now.
Jose. Someone was talking. Yeah, Jose mentioned Neat Clifford. We'll talk about him when we get to the Kings. Someone else talking about Neat Clifford. I'm the wrong person to ask. 'Cause I'm a big fan of Neat Clifford. He's disappointed us so far in his career, but and Jose Ubre and Avdia or George and MPJ. Man, that's a tough one. We haven't gotten into Ubre and MPJ yet, but my first instinct is the second one. What about you?
Yeah, I was going to say the second one too, just because I think Denny coming back might be a little bit less full go.
Yeah, I think George is the best play out of those four, and then MPJ has been kind of bad since Cam Thomas came back, but I'd like to think he still has he can still put up a ceiling, and the price is creeping down a little bit. Oh, Kings are the next game. Nice. So Neat Clifford showed up as one of the top value plays on DraftKings, projected for 16% ownership at 3,300. Let's start with him. Did you have thoughts on him?
Yeah, so I think the big piece of news here is Malik Monk is out. They've been kind of battling minutes on the rotation, so I think it's big news here. I do like him, Chuck. I don't know if I want to like full jam him, but I think he's a pretty good value play at his ownership. So I'm getting there. How about you here with Clifford and the rest of the team?
Well, I'm not playing on DraftKings today. If I was, I imagine he'd be in a decent amount of my lineups. I'm getting there a little bit on FanDuel. He's only projected for 2%. We really don't have to play much to get over the field. I don't have him projected that poorly. Maybe there's just some other value that'll come up in the next few games we talk about. But Neat Clifford, I'm pulling up his rotation from the last game. So with Malik Monk in, so Dylan Cardwell was the first guy off the bench, big man, but Neat Clifford came off the bench like 5 seconds before Schroeder, Sabonis, and Monk checked in a little bit later. The problem is he only got one rotation in each half. He played 13 minutes in the last game, Neat Clifford, and so we have to hope, I think, that he just absorbs all those Malik Monk minutes. I don't have the rotation from the last time Malik Monk was out to like double check it, but played 33 minutes on the 25th. I'm looking at an old game. Sorry, Popcorn Machine hasn't updated in over a week. Oh, probably should have noticed that. Sorry, I thought this game was 2 days ago. I don't know. What do we have him for? 28 and a half minutes. Now that seems very high. I don't think we can project him for 28 and a half minutes when he's only played that many minutes a couple times this season. I know he did play 33 in the previous game. They were getting blown out. I think this minutes projection is too high. I would cut it down by a few.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit high. I think closer to 25, 26, maybe, probably where to put it at.
This is not a player I would want my day to depend on. If you're building one lineup and you really want to play Neat Clifford, you understand the risk that you're taking. He could give you the 16. He could give you a 5. Sometimes he'll give you a 23. So it's kind of tough. If you're building a set of lineups like I am, like I said, I'm okay mixing in a couple percent, but this is not someone that I'm going to like spend too much time focusing on today. You know what I mean?
100%. Like his floor is very low, and I think he's fine just getting around the field. I don't think you need to get crazy overweight.
No one else is really projecting as anything on this team. Maybe Dylan Cardwell off the bench, but again, he's off the bench. We have him for 23 minutes, and Sabonis is back. Sabonis, terrible value scores. I was like mildly interested in this 8K price. Are you okay taking a couple shots on him?
Yeah, it seems a little bit high for his minutes, but yeah, I guess I'd be fine getting there in a lineup or two.
29 minutes.
Yeah.
I got a little bit more than I was expecting. So he's played, I mean, he got up to 31 minutes once. He could get there again. These fantasy scores have been pretty bad, but if the minutes creep up, I mean, 30 fantasy points in 21 minutes isn't bad. 23 and 17, as long as he gets above 30. Now that he's back above 8K, I don't know. I got a few percent. I'm okay with it in my exposures. What about Westbrook and DeRozan?
Man, both I think I prefer over on FanDuel, especially DeRozan. 6,600. I think he'd be my favorite click here for the rest of the team. So give me DeRozan. I'm not super high on Westbrook tonight.
Yeah, I'm around 6-7% on both of those guys. Seems fine. Just get a little sprinkle. Interestingly, the guy I'm getting the most of here is Dennis Schroeder. A lot of people are talking about Nick Clifford. Schroeder's not pulling that much ownership either. He's under 5K. He's had at least one really good game recently. Maybe he could slide into those few extra minutes. But what do you think about Schroeder as like the cheap play here instead of Nick Clifford?
I like it as a pivot. Should be safer for minutes, like you mentioned. I like it 4,700, good price. He's a decent producer, so I'm with him, man. I like it as a pivot.
Yeah, Schroeder's gonna have a much stronger median.
1 second, guys. Chuck froze. Give us 1 second. But yeah, Dennis Schroeder, just to fill in, definitely a good pivot off of Nick Clifford. Nick Clifford's just very volatile. I think Schroeder is a good pivot though. The Matrix is glitching. Yeah, bear with us, some technical difficulties.
Am I back?
You're
Am I
good, dude.
back?
Yeah, you're good.
I'm sorry, fellas. I'm plugged in with an Ethernet cord. I don't know. I live in LA. We have poor internet here. Um, I appreciate your guys' patience with us, though. Thank you. All right. Jayhawk, what were your thoughts on the other side of this game, the New York Knicks?
Yeah, I think they're all viable tournament plays here. The guys I like here are obviously Brunson, Cat. I think they both look fine at their ownerships. I really like the spot for Cat Towns though against Sacramento. Good price point, good matchup. So love Cat, kind of neutral on Brunson, and then for the rest of the team, I don't love here. What's your thoughts here with that new?
I actually have a pretty decent amount of all five starters. Getting the most of Josh Hart. I think it's the price on FanDuel though. The 6,700 is nice. He is pulling the most ownership here, so that makes sense. Models giving us him as the top value play, and then McHale, then OG. Brunson and Cat don't look quite as good, but I think they're fine as payups. I'm not like focused on either one, but I do have a decent amount of Cat. I have some Brunson, but it looks like Josh Hart is the guy I'm getting the most here, and I kind of like OG too. Value scores are decent. Ownership is in check, and the price is right. So just mixing up these three top guys, I think sounds pretty good. And if you're gonna get a couple shares of Brunson or Cat, it's fine too.
Yeah, I did want to shout out Mitchell Robinson at 4,400 too. 8% owned, should get no ownership, but I really like getting to him in tournaments. Really good matchup for him in his minutes that he's going to play.
Yeah, Mitch Rob has been an interesting one. Easier play on DraftKings where we can play two centers, but he's been pretty good in the minutes he's been getting. I mean, there's a pretty big difference between 17 minutes and 27 minutes, but if we're playing him today, I think we hope we get closer to this 27. I don't know how likely it is. Sacramento like doesn't play large, like they don't play very big, so I don't know how much of a need they'll have to run Mitchell Robinson and Cat at the same time tonight.
Yeah,
And his chances of closing are probably pretty low too.
I think that's
Hart,
about it from New York here for me. Like,
yeah, Hart looks awesome at that FD price. Yeah, I think he looks pretty good. Usually a big fan of Josh Hart when he's under 7K and we can project him out for his full minutes. Is Chuck real or AI? Chuck GPT?
Chuck Cheese.
It's funny. It's funny. What value scores are we looking for? So it's different on every slate, kind of just compare it, today. Usually 14, I'd say on like slates that have more than a couple games is the cutoff that I look for, where a player is like a really good value. And today we kind of have enough guys above 14, but it's all slate relative, like these guys right here are still pretty strong over on FanDuel. Yeah, just all relative to who else is available that day. But usually 14 is what I consider very strong value.
Yeah,
It's less if, like, is there a pay up here somewhere? So we don't like Shea at 13 value, being the most expensive player on the slate. Like the model's telling us that he is one of the better pay ups to get to today. So that's another way that I would look at it too.
yeah. I just like combining them as well. If they have a high value score plus a good OF index, typically great play.
All right, I don't think we have to spend too much time on this. Oh, never mind. It's Milwaukee and the Sixers. We might have to spend a little bit of time here. But the guy who has shown up the most that I really hate is Miles Turner over on FanDuel. He's only 5,300. Or wait, yeah, he's only 5,300. I thought he was actually a little bit cheaper. Um, yeah, he's showing up. He was showing up. I had to dock him pretty good, but I'm getting a decent amount of basically everyone else on this team: Ryan Rollins, Bobby Portis, Kyle Kuzma. They're all pulling pretty heavy ownership. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think this slate all kind of starts with Rollins here. Sub 50% on DK, really chalky on FanDuel. I really like him. A chalk piece, I'm okay eating. And then I think it comes down to Portis versus Kuzma. I do lean Portis at the ownership in the matchup, but I think Kuzma's fine as well. What's your take there with Portis and Kuzma?
Well, Ryan Rollins is my favorite play, and then I think it's Portis. We're assuming he starts, right? They've shown a willingness to start him recently that they hadn't been for a while. So, assuming Portis starts, he just seems like one of the easier plays to make, especially that he's what 6K flat on both sides. Ownership seems in check. It is worth noting that the model I just like pointed out what a strong value score is. Bobby Portis is showing up as not like a very strong value today, so keep that in mind. The model's kind of telling us we can get away from him a little bit, but the model does like Kuzma and Ryan Rollins quite a bit more.
Yeah, Kuzma, man, we never can like pick him out right. Sub 20%, does that seem too high, too low? What do you want to do there with the
I
ownership?
think any ownership on Kyle Kuzma is usually too high, but with no Giannis and no KPJ, what's his price? 53 and 5,500. It's just if he can't succeed here, what are we doing in the NBA, brother? It's a high risk play. You understand? It's okay. I think so. I talk about these high variance guys. I think it's okay to play a bunch of Kyle Kuzma today, but you have to know that sometimes you're going to get 14 fantasy points out of him. But he could just as easily put up 30 plus. I'm kind of leaning get away a little bit, but he is 20% owned, so we could be around the field, and that's probably okay.
Yeah, I think he'd look better if he starts, but like you mentioned, I much prefer Portis if I can get to him there.
Yeah, Ryan Rollins, especially on DraftKings, I think is going to be the top option here. He's the guy that I'm getting the most of, even over on FanDuel. Remember the run he went on before KPJ came back? It's his team again. So Philadelphia, again, a team we'd like to target players against for fantasy. They're 10-point dogs, so we're not projecting blowout. This total is disgust. This is like the lowest total we've seen all season, but it's okay. So I would say be a little bit careful with this team, but I do like Rollins a lot.
Yep, with you. I think he's a top play here for sure.
I'll mention Cole Anthony and AJ Green as a kind of GPP value flyers. They're both pulling a little bit of ownership. I think it's fine to get to either one. This 19% for Cole Anthony on DraftKings seems a little bit healthy, but he's been pretty fine. If he gets over 20 minutes, then he's going to look pretty good at 4,100.
Yep, I love that shot. I think would you be comfortable running them both together, Anthony and Rollins?
Anthony and who? Oh,
Ryan
and
Rollins.
Rollins.
Yeah.
I can't pull up the previous game to see if they shared the court together. Well, Cole Anthony played 20 minutes. They shared the court for sure for a few minutes, so I'm okay with it. It's just a question of really what are the chances of Cole Anthony closing? He'd have to be having a good game, and the game would have to be close. So that would be tough. I don't know if I'm going to set that rule against it though. But if you're hand building, I would probably try to avoid it.
Yeah, I think I'd avoid it as well.
We'll go to the other side, Philadelphia. What's up with your boy Tyrese Maxey, man? He had like 6 points yesterday.
Yeah, man, it's been a rough stretch here for Maxi. Obviously, had
Hmm.
that huge game against Houston. I think he's going to look a lot better if Paul George and or Embiid miss here. But as like right now, I don't think he's a fantastic play with how he's been playing. So to me, it's mainly Paul George, Embiid if he plays here. Did you have a different take, or what are your thoughts here on Philly?
Well, I'm kind of indifferent on Paul George playing or not because I really just don't like playing this guy. He's only 6,300 on FanDuel though. He is pulling a little bit of ownership. I'm well under that, so if he's in, my exposure to this team is actually going to be pretty low. I'm taking GPP shots on Maxi. He's only projected for 10 and 11%. I always think it's good no matter who he's going against to play him when he's this low owned. And Joel Embiid, what is the price difference? On DraftKings 9,200, model says good. On FanDuel 10-1, model says not that good, but he is expensive, so I don't know. He's only 5% owned. It's probably cool to get a few percent as a GPP shot. I am going elsewhere at center today though.
Yeah, he seems like a good tournament flyer. He's been very good the past few games, so I like getting there in GPPs.
Edgecombe, this is one of the guys I really rely on the model to tell me if we're playing him that day. Model says no, so at 2%, go with it. And Ubre too. Where's Ubre? Oh, he's actually showing up as still a good value. His price 5,600 on DK, 6K on FanDuel. He's like no ownership, so this could be a pivot if you want to get there in the mid range. Much better if PG's out, obviously. If PG's out, he probably becomes one of the better plays, right?
Yeah, PG's out. I think Uber would get a huge bump. So as of right now, I'm not nearly as good, but that could change.
We got to fly through these next games. We'll go to New Orleans at the Thunder. How many points are here? 15 and a half points. So this is about where we start projecting a blowout, right at 15 points. Decent total, 234 and a half. No one's pulling double digit ownership from this Pelicans team. I'm not playing much of anyone here, but Zion, Derek Queen, Herb Jones, and Trey Murphy. Yeah, like the obvious guys, I guess. Is there anyone that stands out to you here?
Yeah, just tough matchup, like you mentioned. Huge spread. I think I would target the guys I think that can play through blowout. I'm not too interested in Murphy, Zion. So give me the bench guys. Maybe take a stab at one of these guys. But for the starters, I don't have much interest here.
Yeah, I mean, Missy's a little interesting, but his playing time is way up and down, kind of dependent on how Derek Queen is doing. Yeah, I think they're GPP plays. I'm not like super interested in anyone here. The other side of this game is pulling some decent ownership. They're going to be without what Isaiah Hartenstein is still out,
Yeah.
so Kenrich Williams was the guy showing up for me. I was actually a little surprised he wasn't projected for more ownership. Yeah, we have the value to get to SGA, so it makes sense he's showing up at with a pretty healthy amount of ownership. What do you want to do with this team?
So Chuck, this is a fantastic spot. I just worry about obviously them getting their full last stint, last rotation
Uh-huh.
here.
Hmm.
Especially SGA, man. Let's start with him. A lot of games he hasn't even played the fourth quarter in. He probably can get there in three quarters in this matchup. So I think he's fine as a spend up. But then after that, like Chet Holmgren, I did want to talk about him. He was popping up a little bit for me, both sides. I think it's mainly those two. Um, but what's your take here? Is it Chet? Is it SGA? What do you like here?
It's for sure SGA. This is the highest projection I've ever had for Chet Holmgren. I just noticed right now, and I still only got 20% on FanDuel. This 8,500 price is so tough because without the stock variance, if he doesn't get 4 or 5 blocks, then it's really hard for him to get there because I just don't think Chet's that good, man. I mean, I'm looking at these stats. These are good stats, but 8,500 is tough if he's gonna carry some ownership. What was he?
Yeah. hmm
16, 30% on FanDuel, dude. I don't know about that. I guess I'm going to be a little bit under that, but models really telling us we can kind of just get away from Chet today. I like that call. It does like SGA though. I have a ton of SGA. Very comfortable playing him. All the SGA on FanDuel anyway, even though his price is back up above 11,000. It's the rest of these guys here. Did you set any rules? Like I just put max three per team, period, which I'm cool with. But I mean, do you care about any specific groups here?
I don't know if necessarily just on OKC, but I think if I'm running both Holmgren and SGA, I think I probably want at least one New Orleans player if we're playing
Okay,
for full ceilings.
I like that.
Other
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't have any rules.
Okay. I mean, I'm mixing in all the value plays: Wiggins, Jalen Williams, and Kenrich Williams, and then just a couple percent of Lou Dort and Kason Wallace. But they're great to mix in too if they're going to pull less ownership than everyone else. That makes them pretty strong pivots. Kason in particular, models telling us he's a very strong value today. Same with Dort, and they're pulling much less ownership than Aaron Wiggins. And so I still want to play some Aaron Wiggins, but I do want to mix in the other guys a little bit as well. And then because it's over a 15-point spread, I feel like I want to give them an extra half a point or extra fantasy point just in case we do get that fourth quarter blowout run from some of these garbage guys that we're interested in.
Yeah, and then the last guy I did want to talk about was Jalen Williams. He started last game, wasn't the most productive. It is a good matchup. What are your thoughts here with him? Model really likes him here.
I'm usually a fan of Jalen Williams, whether or not he starts. He's been bad though. This is crazy. The minutes haven't been there with no Hartenstein, which is the concerning thing. Kenrich Williams seems like he's been the guy that they'd rather go to. 28 minutes is really strong. So Kenrich, he's only 4,100 over on FanDuel. I think he's got to be one of the top value plays on the whole day. Like a guy that we're pretty comfortable going heavy on. Is he owned? He's only projected for 15% ownership. I'll point out the model is not as into him today, likes him more on FanDuel, but I think he stands out as a pretty good play, especially if he's only going to come in at 15% owned.
I'm with you. The minutes have been much safer there, and I do like J. Will as a player, but I agree. I do like Kenrich right now. Right now, excuse me.
And I'll mention Isaiah Joe. He burned the world when he started last week and did nothing, but no one's playing him today. He's still low priced. I think these are the days we can take shots on him, just mix him in. Um, that's it.
Yep, that I was going to say him too. So right there with you.
Let's see. The Pels just showed they can beat the Spurs, so they can beat a depleted OKC team, right? Pels and Hornets are two teams I think we got to be a little bit careful with in DFS right now because they're performing much better than expected. And so I like that. I like that idea. Like they can keep the game close, so maybe we can play an extra piece from New Orleans and play maybe SGA or Chet without having that as much worry about them losing blowout run.
Yep, I agree with that comment.
Oh, what's up, Smitty? Jalen Williams has been getting into early foul trouble. All right, that's good to know. So, yeah, we'll see what the ownership comes in at, but model loves him. Projected for less than 20% ownership at 4,200, and he has power forward eligibility on FanDuel. Seems like a good one. I'm gonna mix him in a bunch. Brooklyn. My main interest here is MPJ. He's down to 8,300 on FanDuel, projected for 7 and 8%. I got a couple percent of Claxton because I'm kind of mixing up center today, but that's really just that's where my interest in this team is. Anything else for you?
Nope, MPJ and Clarkson. That's what I was going to say as well. Just kind of been the guys that I've been targeting here. The rest of the value plays, like minutes, are so volatile. So MPJ is probably my favorite here, though, overall.
And the model's really telling us we don't even have to take GPP shots on MPJ. We can probably just fade this whole team, and it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm with you. MPJ's like ceiling has been a little bit lower than we've seen in the past. So yeah.
Yeah, man. Cam Thomas just messed everything up. Is Nick in the Nick? Saw you in the chat earlier, man. What's up with your team, bro? Other side, Phoenix is much more interesting though. So Devin Booker, I didn't see how long he's going to be out for, but he is not playing tonight. We know that the rest of the guys kind of just have to collectively step up. They're all going to be slightly underpriced right now because their prices haven't fully adjusted for Devin Booker being out. I'll tell you the one that surprised me the most was how much Grayson Allen was showing up in my first runs, and his ownership projection is kind of insane. He's not like cheap. Like on DraftKings, I guess the price is okay, but 6,800 on FanDuel, he's still projected for 28% ownership. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit high for ownership wise, at least. I just think he's still good without Booker here. He's shown pretty good for the past few games. Nothing crazy, but I like it. I don't know if he's a GM play, but I like the ownership. I like the play overall. So, what's your take here, Carson? You like him?
Well, no, I don't. But
Okay.
I'll mention he shot 4 for 18 last game.
Yeah.
It's a lot of shots. I mean, a few games ago, 11 for 25. I don't know which of these games Booker was in or out for. But he's a good play. I think the field is like way too hard on him though. 45% is kind of insane.
Yeah, Gillespie was super chalk last game. He was pretty much a Grayson's ownership plus more. Do you like him tonight? He shot pretty bad last game. I kind of like Gillespie at the ownerships, to be honest with you.
Yeah, if he what's his ownership at? It's at 8 and 15. I wonder how much of that is being affected by that Q tag because he got downgraded um, late in the day, right when they ruled Jalen Green out 3 hours ago. They downgraded Colin to questionable.
Okay.
Most of the time, I assume that they end up missing when they're late day downgrades. It says hand, so maybe that's different than illness. Model says he's fine to mix in at 8 and 15%. I think he's okay. 6,500. Like this guy has a 40+ point ceiling, so I'm not too worried about that. The ownership seems in check to me, so I'm okay with it if he ends up being in Grayson Allen. And then I'm also getting a little bit of Dylan Brooks, and I want to take GPP shots on Mark Williams like I do every day. A few percent of Royce, Jordan Goodwin. So a lot of exposure to this team overall.
Yeah, Jordan Goodwin, man, I didn't want to shout him out. He shot, I think, like 1 for 6, 1 for 7 last game. I think he's going to benefit as well if for some reason Gillespie misses. So bump to him, I think, even if Gillespie plays, but monitor him if Gillespie misses here as well.
And it's like my boy Dylan Brooks. I want to say he's going into that mode where he's just all right. Devin Booker's out. I gotta take 30 shots tonight. And at his ownership, I'm okay taking the shots on there. Now, just going straight by the model. Model's giving us Royce as a decent like a last guy in type play. Maybe Jordan Goodwin, maybe Colin Gillespie, but model's not too high on anyone else here. So I do think these ownerships are a little bit awkward. I'm not going to say they're too high because they, like I pointed out, they are a little bit cheaper than they should be with Devin Booker out. But I don't know. It's against Brooklyn. It's a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, I think all these guys are fine tournament flyers. The only thing I don't like here, Chuck, is the 211 game total. That's what's
Yeah,
concerning me a little bit.
super. That's the lowest total we've seen all season. So
Yeah.
we really need word on Gillespie. If Gillespie's in, I think they're okay. If Gillespie's out, then we can probably just bump the other guys a little bit, especially Jordan Goodwin. And then I'll just throw out Jamari Boye as like a super flyer. You guys were talking about Neek Clifford earlier. If Colin Gillespie is ruled out, Jamari Boye is our Neek Clifford in that situation.
Yeah.
We'll go to Detroit. Only Duren is pulling over 10% ownership. I'm not even getting to 10%. I have very little exposure to this team. Cade's probably always okay as a GPP play. Is there anyone else you're really interested in here?
To be honest with you, Chuck, it was mainly just Cade here. I think he has a ceiling against Denver, maybe some Duren, but yeah, I'm fine taking Stasser with Cade. Other than that, just a tough team to target overall.
The model's giving us Duncan Robinson as a pretty decent value. That's about it.
Yeah, I agree.
I like this Denver side of the game, though. One of the reasons why I'm not getting to a lot of other centers is I'm playing a bunch of Jonas Valanciunas over on FanDuel. We do have the model-approved value score at only 5,200. This DraftKings price is much different. Are you still okay taking shots on him over on DraftKings at 6,500?
Yeah. Well, on DK, I think he's a little bit worse on DK. 6,200, let's see, like average 30, 41. Maybe you could take a stab there. I don't love the matchup, but on FanDuel 5,200, much prefer him over there.
Yeah, we only have him for 24 and a half minutes, and I don't even know. Maybe we take a minute off of that. So he looks good on FanDuel. I'm comfortable playing a bunch of him. He's not going to be my only center tonight, though, like he was on whatever day that was last week. I want to have interest in Peyton Watson. Model's telling us he's not that great of a play today, but at 6 and 9% ownership, I'll go ahead and take some shots on him. And then this is like the first day that I'm not really getting to Jamal. These value scores are very, very poor. I'll say he's low owned. He's the type of player who could just hit 6 threes or something. Detroit has the number one defense in the NBA by like quite a bit, though, if I'm not mistaken. So that's something I would keep in mind.
Yep, we're just going to mention that. Very tough spot for Murray. I think that's why his ownership is kind of low.
We'll go to the Clippers at Utah. Now, the first thing I was surprised about today is this not on DraftKings?
Just FanDuel, yeah.
So did we just finish DraftKings?
Let's
Nice.
see. Yes.
Okay, let's build a quick dummy for DraftKings, and we'll grind out that last FanDuel game. So let me reset my stuff. Who's your first guys in today?
It's difficult. I think we need at least 2 or 3 of these Washington guys plus Rollins. So Trey Johnson and Rollins. Let's throw those guys in for now.
All right, we'll plug in Trey Johnson at shooting guard, and I do want to get in. You know what? No, we're gonna do Trey Johnson at point guard,
Okay.
Keyshawn George at shooting guard. I really like Keyshawn today. Let's see if we can just have those be our two. We might end up putting Sar in here later, but SGA. Usually like getting the value guys in first, but I think SGA kind of stands out as the clear top pay up today.
Yeah, very good matchup, and yeah, I'm with you.
Center. Let me just see what the model told us for the top overall. Jalen Williams, Neat Clifford, Trey Johnson, Kason Kelly, Chris Middleton, Bridges, Ryan Rollins. We'll get Ryan Rollins in there. Rollins. So we already used up all of our guard spots in our utility, which isn't great. So there might have to be some concessions on these guys here. These are all pretty strong plays, though. Keyshawn would be the guy that gets out, I think.
Yeah, probably Keyshawn, but I'm with you.
Who else are we looking at?
We got Portis, I think, in that game. Sar.
We could
Let's
do
see.
Portis.
Yeah,
This is assuming he starts. If he's not starting, it's going to be really tough to have much interest in him because we just don't know what the coaching staff is going to do with him.
then I think I want to get to one of the Phoenix guys, Allen or Brooks. I think they're both good.
Okay. Let's assume Gillespie's in since it
Okay.
was just his hand. Grayson Allen or Dylan Brooks. We can play either one. Who's the model
I'm
giving us?
I'm good with the other one. I think they're both good plays.
Model's giving the slight edge to Grayson over on DraftKings, but given the ownership difference, I'm gonna go with Dylan Brooks in
I like
the
it.
dummy. So we are really up against it with salary if we're trying to run this lineup. Only 38.50 per player. I don't know. Jalen Williams, the guy.
Yeah, Jalen Williams. I was going to mention Kenrich was cheap too. He's a little bit more expensive.
Kenrich is cheap. Wait, what? Oh,
Maybe he's not. 4,800.
4,800 for Kenrich on DraftKings. Yeah, that FanDuel price was a lot better. Is there anyone playable with 3,400? Nick Clifford.
Nick Clifford. Yeah. I was trying to look for a pivot down here. It's not much.
We're probably gonna have to take Keyshawn George out. I think. I think that's the guy that we would be swapping out here. So we'll move Ryan Rollins to point guard, and then we'll put Trey Johnson at shooting guard.
Okay, I like it.
And that leaves us a forward and util. We have 5,100 for two spots. Is there anyone on Phoenix that we wanted to get in there? I mean, Royce O'Neal was showing up. We can throw him in the dummy. Just as like, there's a lot of guys in this price range that we can consider. Last guy in.
Yeah, it's tougher.
Yeah, none of these guys stand out at all. I guess Aaron Wiggins maybe, but I really hate this 4,900 price on him. I'd rather play him when he's cheaper. Kenrich
Yeah,
at 48, I guess. I don't
Kenrich.
know if I want to play Jalen and Kenrich, so maybe we swap something out here, but I don't know. These are top plays on the model today. Maybe Josh Hart could slide in there somehow. OG would be fine.
Yeah, I like taking stabs. I know you're not as high on Mitch Robb at center as well in tournaments for
Yeah,
value.
Mitch Rob could do it on DraftKings. He's a decent pivot off of Jalen Williams, actually. Pretty similar price. Most people are just going to click on Jalen Williams, I think.
I'm with you.
So leaves us same thing for the util 5K. Mentioned Champagne for Washington. He's a decent pivot. He just put up 44. I played him on the day he put up 12, of course. Minutes have been strong. I wish I knew what happened with the minutes on that game. He just played terrible and lost a rotation, but he's a GPP play. No one's playing him. We'll knock out this last FanDuel game, Clippers and Utah. I was getting so much James Harden in my. Yeah, he's projected for 38% ownership. Kawhi's back. I don't know. Are we going to get a hard minutes limit on him?
I don't know. I'd have to double check that.
Yeah, that's pretty important. Assuming that we do get a minutes limit on him, I don't think we can really play him too much. His usage is probably going to be sky high while he's on the court.
Yeah.
But at 27 minutes, the model is telling us we can kind of just stay away. And even with James Harden projected for third, like his regular minutes, these are not good value scores. The OF index is fine. I mean, by overall OF index, it's what play number 5 on the FanDuel slate. But just looking at the value scores, it's not very appealing. With that said, I think he's still okay. We had a situation like this last week where I said James Harden was probably the default guy you plug in, but we have a few other guys that we can rotate in and out and pivot off of. And I think that's probably the same way to handle it tonight. Like, let him be the default since he is the chalk. They're going against Utah. It's a cake matchup. But then if you find a good pivot, then make it.
All right, one question for you, Chuck. If you're running one FanDuel lineup, are you going to SGA or to Harden as your top spender tonight?
SGA.
I like it.
I'm going
I
to
think so too.
SGA. Yeah, still play. I still have more Harden in my exposures. Of course, the price is a lot easier to work with, but I don't feel as good about it. Model says he's okay. Might be a little bit overowned, but I guess there's not that many strong pay-ups on the slate. Like Kawhi's Kawhi at minutes limit, he's 8% projected ownership on FanDuel at 9,100. It's a little awkward. I'm not playing any Kawhi today, so I'm just gonna hope that he doesn't do it. But anyone else on the team interest you?
Yeah, it was just Harden and then Zubac, 6,700. I like the price point overall matchup, so I think he's fine to mix in at center. After that, Jordan Miller, just wanted to throw him out there. Good price. Even with Kawhi back here, I think he could potentially get there at 6%, so just wanted to throw him out there as well.
I like it. Yeah. Yep. Decent amount of Zubac for me as well. I am over this 21%. And Jordan Miller projected for 6% ownership. I have 7. So we're over the field on Jordan Miller too. I like it. I mentioned Chris Dunn and John Collins are showing up a little bit too. John Collins is interesting because he's kind of garbage most of the time, but sometimes he has he's not here. Sometimes he has a really good game. So I'm pretty comfortable mixing him in. I never usually bump him up though. Model says he's pretty decent over on FanDuel actually though. So if you wanted to bump him up very slightly, that's probably okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
And Utah, one of my favorite fantasy teams to target players from. Now they have a terrible matchup against the Clippers. They're only 7.5 point dogs though. We have a pretty decent total. 63% ownership on Isaiah Collier. I have 100. So what are you doing with that?
Yeah, I think you probably just eat the chalk there. 63% on a big slate like this. I mean, I think you just got to just probably eat it there. So I'm with you. I think he's a fantastic play on FanDuel.
I mean, he's gonna start. He's gonna play all the minutes. There's no. I already forgot my other boy's name. It's Collier night tonight, but
No Keontae.
yeah, no Keontae. What about Walter Clayton? Where's Walter Clayton? Only projected for 2% ownership. Was his rotation weird last game or something? I can't pull it up.
Yeah, his rotations just in general have been kind of, not great. So it's been tougher to get to him.
No one else stands out here at all. Like Walter Clayton would be the closest at around 13 value. I have a couple percent of K-Love, a couple percent of Kyle Anderson, and I tried to get Laurie in there, but his price is so difficult to work with over on FanDuel. The model tells us we really don't even have to worry about it. These are terrible value scores, but I wanted a couple percent. He's pretty low owned today, and it's a terrible matchup for him, but it's his team with George out tonight.
Yeah, it's his team for sure. Any last question? Any sensible for you? I know he hasn't been great, but he spiked a couple of ceiling games.
Is he starting? If he's starting, I'll probably bump him up a little bit.
Yeah, well to see.
He's interesting though because like Keontae is like one of the best players in the NBA, right? He has one of the highest usage rates. Take him off the court, and it has to get spread out. So like, yeah, Collier is going to absorb the bulk of it. I'm okay getting to some sensible. I'll bump him a little bit since you mentioned that.
I was just
I wasn't
thinking
getting
like
much.
shot attempt wise with Keontae shooting a bunch, maybe we get a couple more to sensible.
Yeah, he could get a couple more attempts, catch fire or something. But yeah, Collier, 100%. It's a much different slate over on FanDuel, mostly just because of Collier. Jayhawk, any last words you want to mention before we get out of here?
No, not too much. Just make sure to monitor any late news we have, and let's go OKC. Let's hopefully get SGA all of his rotation tonight.
Instructions to join the Discord are in the description below. I'll be in there in like 5 minutes. We'll go over some stuff. Maybe we'll get some news on something we didn't have during the stream, but appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. Good luck.